Welcome to Suthicha Live English. The local political scene has been quite active, quite stimulating in the past few days, especially with the major event staged by the Pheu Thai Party. And the party leader, Kun Paetongtarn Shinawat, Kun Ung Ing, made the so-called major speech in which she was very direct, accusing the Bank of Thailand, the central bank, of being an obstacle in national economic development. Politics gets quite complicated, but then at the same time, you would like to find out what she really means and what is Pheu Thai Party up to. Kun Isra Sunthornwat, Kun Job is here tonight to talk about politics as it happens now. Hi, Kun Isra. Sawasdee krab.
Sawasdee krab.
Sawasdee krab.
Sawasdee krab.
So what do you make of Kun Paetongtarn's statement?
I think we have to get past the is it right or wrong.
Okay.
I think it's from a political standpoint, I understand, and putting on my politician hat, okay?
Yes.
I understand that she has to say what she has to say, and she has to do what she has to do as party leader to rouse and boost up the spirits of the followers, right?
Yes. Yes.
But there are lines to be crossed where you, especially what you just said a minute ago about how she specifically said that the central bank is an obstacle to economic development.
Yeah.
I think that's dangerous. It's dangerous precedence in a sense, because you are making an enemy out of an entity that should not be an enemy. You are politicizing an institution that has to be neutral and is central to economic development in our country, and needs to be above politics or neutral from politics or apart from politics. But now you're politicizing opinions towards the central bank, and that's a dangerous precedence to play. But it's something that Pheu Thai is very good at. It's something that they have been doing, and it's part of their DNA to do so. So I think it's not out of the ordinary that she has said what she has said, and is not out of the ordinary that they have done what they have done and what they will do. Because if you look at the progression of this government, just this present government, right? You've seen with the digital wallet scheme and the formation of the digital wallet scheme, they've always tried to pinpoint or place the donkey the donkey tail on the central bank, and especially the central bank governor.
Yeah.
I think that's something that is part of the script, if you want to say. I always said this because you asked me before, what am I doing now? I'm doing government relations consultancy for multinational corporations.
Okay, so you have a lot of explanation to do.
Oh, too much. But what I always told them was this: is that for the digital wallet scheme was one thing that I think is their way out. Is there I don't want to say cop out, but their way out of this to make themselves still look nice at the time when it was still unclear whether it was going to pass or not, and it's still not that clear whether it's going to pass or not, but just say it was it's not, but it before it was unclearer, right? I think at the time what I was saying was that the way out is to make it so that the people in the ivory towers, the academics, the former bank governors, the former the Bank of Thailand, so on and so forth, will be the bad guys in this situation where it's not good, it's not fiscally responsible, it's blah, 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 blah. And so that the Pheu Thai can say, well, average Thai person, we tried, but it's those people. It's those people. So it has been there It has been there. So, and I think that's still in. Can I say this out loud? It's still the game. It's still in play, if you want to say. Yeah.
I mean, scapegoating.
Scapegoating. And then I think it's, you have to, as you know, in every movie, in every trilogy, in every epic, there has to be a villain. And a villain has to have a face.
Right.
So I think they're villainizing for their own political purpose, to pass their scheme, whether they believe the scheme can pass or not. That's what has been, in my opinion, that's what has been happening, and that's what will keep happening.
In the case of Kun Paetongtarn's speech, some people say that she was just reading from a script. She wasn't really delivering what she was thinking about. In fact, some people say she may not even understand the complications of the issue at all. Do you buy that? Do you buy that?
Yes and no. well, we live in a conspiracist world, so I wouldn't say yes, I wouldn't say no. Let's just be fair to a certain degree. That I think she understands what she understands. I'm not sure she understands the implications, but but to blindly read something without knowing anything at all, I think she wouldn't allow that, because what we have to understand about the DNA of Pheu Thai, Pak Palang Prachachon at the time, and Thai Rak Thai at the time, so on and so forth, is that what they do is heavily scripted. And they can't do anything, or they won't do anything. Let's just say, be fair, they won't do anything that is not heavily scripted. So she has to understand to a certain degree, or she had to understand it to a certain degree. And I think she was willing to take that mantle of I am fighting. I am fighting for you. I am fighting for the average person. I am a young woman. I'm a young mother. I am taking on the central bank.
Oh wow, that's
I am taking the central bank.
Yeah, big challenge, and also a big sacrifice.
That's a big sacrifice, but I think that's the role that she would like to play as fighter. And to be fair to her, she's doing that role well. Whether she understands the true implications of what she's saying, I don't think that
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters to Pheu Thai, because they've done this before, and it's for the political. But what I find more distressing, rather than the script, the political machine that Pheu Thai has, and so forth, is that a number, I don't want to say a majority, but let's just say a significant number of the Thai public, or the public, doesn't find this right or wrong. They find this. If you and I say something of saying that she is wrong for saying something, or Anachan Sak says that she's wrong for saying this, just for, sorry to bring up the name, right? They'll say, these are just the regular people that are criticizing. She just walks by us, she's already wrong. Right? She wakes up, she's already
suspects.
The usual faces, the usual suspects, the same old guys, right? The same old people, right? And so they'll say that as soon as we open our mouths, it's bad. Yeah. So I
20 years ago, when Kun Thaksin was in power, Kun Paetongtarn was just about 10 years old or something, you know.
That's very true. That's very true.
She was not in the scene at all. So there could be no bias against her, except that some people suspect that her father was dictating all this.
Yes. No. Well, you can't. It's very easy to believe, right? That Pheu Thai is under the shadows, the de facto leader, as what you call it in the media. It's hard to believe that he doesn't have influence, and he doesn't have the say within the party. Just look at Songkran, right? During the Songkran festivals, you never. I've never seen this where, where you have the pouring the water over the hands of the Puyai, right? I've never seen that nobody went to go to the prime minister's house, but they went to Thaksin's house.
Right.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen that, and so it could be something subtle. It could be something ticky tacky to pick on, but it's very much there, right? So I would think that if you go back to the original question of she was 10 years old.
Right.
Okay, yeah, she was 10 years old, but she's 20 years older, as we all are 20 years older now, right?
Right.
So, she has her political ambitions. So I think this is her stepping stone, other than the soft power scheme of hers.
Right.
I think this is her other way of coming out of her shell. And I think it's a rallying point for their supporters to say, yes, you see, that is the bad guy. That's right. I want this 10,000 baht digital wallet because my political party wants to revitalize the economy, but it's these bad guys.
Bad guys, yeah.
It's these bad guys that are just standing in our way.
Yeah.
And I think it's distressing, like I said, where nobody's talking about the right or wrong of how you're politicizing a neutral entity for political gains, and what is the consequence of that?
Right.
So that is just more distressing to me, that people are just saying, Kudisara is saying this because he was a Democrat guy, so he has to say this. People get so. I try to be fair, but people just don't want to be fair anymore. I think it's just emotions and political. Emotions override political correctness.
Right. And there was one line of interpretation that the Pheu Thai party was trying to put pressure on the governor of the Bank of Thailand to quit, because it's very difficult under the current law governing the central bank to sack the governor. So making it a public issue and putting the blame on him would put him out of office. And then the government can put someone they
More
can
friendly.
work with in that position.
Right.
Do you think that is a viable theory?
Well, since we're all conspiracy theorists, of course, right? Of course. But if you look at if you read the tea leaves from the beginning of this government, you've seen from the beginning of the rationality of wanting to have the digital wallet, because remember, the Prime Minister has come out periodically of saying that we are in a financial crisis, we are in an economic crisis, but the numbers from the Bank of Thailand, the central bank, never supported that. So there was always that attempt anyways to try to. And then there was always the little snips and snaps at the Bank of Thailand and the governor, so on and so forth. I don't know if they would blatantly come out and try to sack the present governor. But I know that if they try to, I think it'll be blatant and obvious. And I don't know how much people would accept that unless they keep on doing what they're doing and discrediting and chipping away at the credibility of the governor. And then what you have left is the supporters of the government will say, well, see, we told you. And the critics of the government will say, well, see, we told you. So I that's why I said it's distressing to see that this has become a politicized issue when it should not be. But then again, should, could, right, wrong, I think it doesn't matter anymore.
No. Reuters had this headline for this story: daughter of Thai heavyweight Thaksin calls central bank independence an obstacle. That's the headline.
Yes.
I mean, if that goes out, around the world and people read the story, whether they understand Thailand or not, they will say, what? Central bank independence is an obstacle? Then, what's going to happen to the opinion from the outside?
I think that the outside, from my dealings with MNCs, so on and so forth, I think they already have a perception of the influence of this government towards what they want to do already. I think there's already that perception there already that there is an all-powerful family behind all this, and they want to do what they want to do, and they can do what they can do, and they will chip away using any means possible. If this were 20 years ago, let's be fair. If this were 20 years ago and the beginning of Thai Dak Thai, I think people would be giving the benefit of the doubt to the family in a sense of, oh well, they're trying. They are honestly expressing their opinions. This is not a policy, but this is what she said. But again, can she say this in her capacity as her or as party leader? But she went up as party leader, so that means it's part of the party. So again, is it the government's policy? Because Seta didn't say that. It's her. It's she said that, right? Is she a firebrand? Is she a fireball? Yeah. There are ways out of this in a sense, as long as Kun Seta did not say it, right? Because she doesn't have, well, she has an official capacity in the government as the deputy chair of the Soft Power Committee. Yeah, but she doesn't have any ministerial. So I mean.
Can't you claim this is my personal view, has nothing to do with the government? That would be a bit awkward.
It would be a bit awkward, but how much more awkward can it be than saying that the central bank is an obstacle? I mean, if you wanted to dance your way out of this, you can. I don't think she will, right? I think she'll stand by what she said, because she said that's my opinion. But I didn't say, I as a party leader, I didn't say let's get rid of him. I didn't say he is an obstacle. I'm saying the central bank. And the old ways of thinking. We think new, right? Remember the kit mai tham mai, that thing. There's still that DNA. But after 20 years of Thaksin and Pheu Thai-ish, Pheu Thai-ese, if you want to say, then history has shown us that there is a tendency to meddle into independent agencies and to bend the rules to make it what they want to make it. So they don't have that wiggle room as they did 20 years ago. So I don't, but then again, go back to your original question of your original statement of what Reuters said. I think it's what the foreign media, I don't want to say expects, but they know. They know now. And I think they don't expect anything less.
Wow, that could be bad for Thailand. It means that this is the new normal, or this is the standard practice in Thailand, which is not of international standard.
Very much so. Very much so. But let me be clear what I said. I don't think it's the new norm for every single government that places these issues at heart. But I think it's the new norm or the normal for a Pheu Thai-led government. I think it's I don't think maybe I was unfair. What I said is what is expected, but it's not out of the ordinary in the eyes of the foreign media or the foreign press or foreigners who understand Thailand that, oh, it's a Pheu Thai thing. Okay, that makes sense. If it were, in a parallel universe, if it were the Move Forward Party, I think people would be much more shocked. If it were a Democrat Party, which is, no chance in hell, but if it were a Democrat Party now, then I think people would say, whoa, wait, that I think people would be more shocked. The thing that's surprising me is that it's been basically, a day or two since she said what she said, but the uproar hasn't been as loud as you would expect it to be. Right? If it were somebody else, like I said, if it were another party, you would see, see people on the streets already, right? You would see, but I maybe I haven't really noticed it, but I haven't seen that uproar since.
Well, you have to watch social media. They're not going on the streets anymore. Now they've gone to the social media instead.
But then if you read the comments, it's divided again. It becomes the people that are supporting saying, well, she has a point. But the people who are not supporting saying, well, you see, it's them. So So I don't see, and I don't see the uproar in the mass media. But again, it's in the social media that it's there. But then social media will have an uproar about anything.
anything.
about anything and everything. So So let's see how it carries over to the next week. If the reporters are not going to say harassing her, but
trying to pin it down on her.
Pin her down on this. I think that's the key to this, of how society gives importance to this. If it's still news, if the reporters are hounding her on this.
Right. Well, if we put ourselves in the shoes of the Pheu Thai party and the arguments I see on social media defending Pae Tong Tan, their position is that the central bank does not understand or is not working with the government to help reduce the debt burden of the common people.
Right.
The central bank, although it's supposed to be independent, is obliged by law to work together with the government to promote well-being or whatever. So they believe that this particular central bank governor is biased against the government for some reason. So they have been saying that it's just personal bias, personal
vendetta agenda,
and all this. It's not a normal central bank's position.
Right.
Okay. So would that be acceptable? In our argument?
I think it's acceptable for an argument if you want to win public perception.
Yeah.
I think it's for a knowledgeable debate on stage with facts and figures. That becomes an issue that is like when you're in high school and it's a he said, she said, and it's a hearsay thing. I think it's specifically crafted that way so that the average person can understand it better. Because if you bring in the facts and figures, we're in economic crisis. No, we are not. Look at the numbers. So we have to have debt relief of 2%, for example, just 2%. No. We need 5%. No, we don't need it at all because the numbers, the GDP, blah, blah, blah. I think you lose people, the average person in that argument. But if you say, the central bank governor, he doesn't like us.
Yeah.
It makes it easier, right?
Easier, yeah.
It makes it easier to say out loud, right? It makes it easier for the MPs to say in their constituencies. It makes it easier it makes it easier for the keyboard warriors supporters to say this kind of stuff, without any substantial backing. So I think it is, if I can be a conspiracy theorist again, right? I think it is part of the script, not the script that she read, right? But the whole script of, in the sense of, okay, let's, like how Mike Tyson used to go out for the knockout punches, right? You have to punch the body first, punch the body, punch the body.
Keep punching.
Just keep punching, and punch away, and then you'll get the knockout. I think it's one of those. I think it's instead of because just to be fair, if we look at the argument, it is really hearsay. In a sense of, they have an agenda. It doesn't like. They are an obstacle because they don't like us, and they don't understand you like I understand you.
Right.
I think it's there in that sense. But again, that's a conspiracy theory.
It used to be that the argument would be that, this guy is part of the opposition party.
Correct.
But now you cannot accuse Kun Sethaput of being part of the opposition party.
Correct. But I wouldn't be surprised if they try to anyways. I wouldn't be surprised if we dig deep into the dig deep into the comments. There's going to be somebody saying, he was there he was there on the streets against us. He was wearing this color shirt. He was holding up, so he was blowing a whistle. But I'm not saying he was. Okay, I'm not saying he was, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if that is out there as well, because that's the society we're living in, because it's not the. And that's why I said it's distressing, where it's not on facts or figures or explanation anymore, but it's more of, because he doesn't like us. Yeah. He doesn't like my party. So that means that he doesn't. there's not that open-mindedness to say, oh well, I don't like your party, but I like your policies. I can accept your policies, but I don't like you. I don't like your overall party. I didn't vote for you, but I like what you're thinking.
We don't hear that. We don't hear that.
No. You only hear that from certain people, some of the times, but then once you say that, like I said, if I can just full disclosure, I was very happy with the results of the election.
Yeah.
Because even though I belong to a certain party, right?
I know.
I was very happy with the results of the election because the party that got the most votes, right? In my opinion, they were the only party basically that had that gave hope.
Yeah.
That gave that right or wrong, or wrong of my personal opinion, but there was that feeling of change or hope, and there was feeling of, okay, this is a party that I can support in a sense. But I know once I said that out loud before, then I got a big X on my face.
It happens. It happens.
But then you stand for what you believe in, and
I'm sure Kun Thaksin has also been thinking very hard about this particular issue. Why did the Move Forward Party win all the seats that the Pheu Thai Party should have won? So he is now pushing his daughter up front to lead the party so that they can recapture the number one position. And that's, I think, one of the things that he's been trying to do is he is launching or relaunching all these populist policies,
right?
Using Paetongtarn as the leader, so that he would recapture the voters.
Right.
You think that could happen? You think that Paetongtarn could represent the real new blood in Pheu Thai that could compete with the Move Forward Party?
I don't know. It's difficult to say. Okay, let's just say this. When I give my advice or I give my analysis to the MNCs, so on and so forth, and they always ask, okay, if Thaksin were to come at the time, if Thaksin were to come back, like I said, what happens here? I said, okay, when he comes back, right, and when he gets paroled, at the time, I don't know when, but when he gets paroled, right, it depends on how he acts. Okay, it depends on how he acts. If he is Kun Thaksin, you know what? Grandfather of his grandchildren, and he swims with them or whatever, and he just stays out of the limelight, then I think Thai people would like that to a certain degree, right? But if he comes out as Tony Woodsum, as he was in Clubhouse, and he starts to teach, and he starts to have all these bodyguards around him, then I think people will start to say, hey man, that's it's a little bit too much. He's not a fool. He knows how to do these things, and he knows how to manipulate people's the image of himself, right? But I don't know how, and this is very difficult to say what's going to happen, because we don't know how people are going to react to his daughter.
So far, what do you see him, acting as if he's back in politics? He went to Chiang Mai, he hosted these parties, he went to the Pheu Thai Party event, then he went down to Phuket, and then he went on inspection trips where the governor of the province, took him, briefed him officially, openly. Is this the kind of Thaksin that you expected when he got this parole? I thought so.
I thought he would. Honestly, I thought he was going to be Tony Woodsum.
Right.
I thought it was going to be Tony Woodsum. But this is pretty much in line with what I thought, in a sense, because he will say, well, he just got on the plane. They did all this for me, but I think so. But I think. And again, it's hard to predict Thai politics, especially let's just say 3 years from now. But don't forget that the sentiment of the voters for the Move Forward Party, it has become a silent vote, in a sense. Not silent in the sense where I'm not going to do anything, or I'm not going to express my views, but there's that anger There's that anger in a sense of my vote was stolen.
Yeah.
My vote was rescinded for no reason. And you are rubbing it into my face. But okay, you do what you have to do now. You guys do what you have to do now. I will express my satisfaction or dissatisfaction at the ballot. So I really don't see what more Thai can do. I don't see for my own personal opinion as of today. Let's just say that election is tomorrow, right? I don't know if they can do enough to satisfy or dissuade the MFP voters to vote for them or not vote for MFP anymore, right? Even if the party is dissolved, or whatever reason happens, I don't see that loyalty to the party being changed for any other reason other than MFP says, well, hey, no more. We are not going to do this anymore. You guys, thank you very much. Bye. Right? I don't see it. I don't see how. And I think that it's very difficult for Pheu Thai to try to do anything because the MFP people feel that they have been betrayed to a certain degree, even though there's that logic of, okay, we didn't do anything. It's the parliamentary system. It's okay, fine. Right. You can argue whatever you want to argue, and that's fine. But then that dissatisfaction is there, and I think the price will be paid in the elections itself, because I don't see. Well, again, it's still too early, but 3 years from now, it depends on what political party or how the political parties want to brand themselves.
What about the scenario? What about the scenario that Thaksin, being a very pragmatic politician, could, in the next election, strike a deal with Move Forward Party and say, okay, next time we're going to form the government together, whether you're number one or we are number one, let's forget about the past. It was difficult. We tried to help Kun Pitha to become prime minister, but there were these senators there, you see, so there was not much we could do. Now is the time. Now there's no more Senate who could vote on the prime minister. Then, hey, let's work together. This probably, and put Ung Ing in touch with Pitha. They go campaign together. They remain separate parties, but working hand in hand. I mean, that to a lot of people would say crazy. Are you crazy? Would they be able to go back after all these arguments and slapping and backstabbing?
Well, is that as crazy as this present coalition? I mean, I mean, if the people that were staunch critics of Thaksin can join the Thaksin government, and I wouldn't see why not. I wouldn't say why not, but I wouldn't be able to see why at this moment I wouldn't see why MFP would openly join hands with Pheu Thai at this moment. For campaigning together.
They're desperate to become government.
True.
And I'm sure even Thanathorn would be ready to talk on the conditions that they have the upper hand if they remain number one in the next election.
Well, I would see them having those channels of communications after the elections, after the elections results. But walking hand in hand together during the campaign, I think it's
a little bit difficult to imagine, especially for the Move Forward Party.
Exactly. I would say both parties, all parties would say, let us see where the cards fall, and if I can bargain with you in a position of power, a position of strength, or as a disadvantage, because if the elections were today or tomorrow, I still see Move Forward being able to get more votes than they did last time. Basically,
really,
right?
Yeah. But then,
unless things change, of course, unless there's a new, but we're just saying what is seen right now, what we see right now, right?
Yeah. If election were held tomorrow, but then it is important to have a clear understanding before the election, because in the campaign, Thaksin would badly need the kind of slogans that would be modern, that would be progressive, that would not be seen as dinosaurs in politics and being tainted by the association with the two former generals and all this. So, for Thaksin, it's not easy.
No.
And of course, 3 years from now, nobody knows. He would be about 77, 78. His
79,
health, we don't know.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainties.
It is uncertain. Let's just say if Thaksin were to ever say, I retire from politics for good, becomes a monk or whatever, right? I don't know how strong Pheu Thai would be in that sense, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not degrading them or making disparaging remarks or anything, but I just don't see. I don't know how strong Patong Tham would be as her own person, as she, but we'll just have to see. Will Suthicha be the candidate still? Would he be one of the three candidates? From the first day that he was a candidate till now, you'll see that he is progressing to have a little bit more power within the party, right? You can see some of his men becoming, some people close to him becoming close to him in the sense of in the Ministry of Klang, Finance, Prime Minister's office, so on and so forth. So you'll see that he is exerting himself, and he's looking a little bit more confident than he was in the beginning. He's looking more smooth than he was in the beginning. So we'll see. It's hard to tell, but I don't know what the public sentiment will be, because what hope would there? If you talk about their campaign slogans and so on and so forth,
right?
I always had faith in their machine.
The machine, okay.
In the machine that, because if you notice, right, if you travel around the country and you notice their campaigns and their posters and during Songkran, because I went to my wife's province in the Northeast, and I drove there, and then you see in every single province that does have a Pheu Thai candidate, it's the same fonts, the same look, it's the same style. It is very sophisticated in that sense, and they do have that upper hand. In that world, they have that. They know how to do that. But Move Forward also know how to do that. How to do that as well, and they do that organically. So we'll see organic and machine. Which one will prevail? But again, we don't know. That's still 3 years from now. That's a long way from now.
I think the decisive vote, the block of votes, will come from the middle class. The young people perhaps would be for Move Forward. But the old people, strangely enough, my generation, when I talk to my friends, before that, they were very pro Prayut.
Right.
But then their children were voting for Move Forward, and they were voting for Prayut in the last election.
Right.
And some of them were persuaded by the children to vote, orange. Right. After the election, in the past few months, most of my friends, my generation, would say, we would give a chance to the Move Forward party. Strange, very strange, because you would assume that the people over 60, over 55 would still stick with Pheu Thai, economic performance and continuity, experience. But no, very strange. Most of them would say that, well, at home, we talk politics again at home, unlike, the previous election, the one before the last one, where we, in the family, we stopped talking politics because we would fight. Every time anyone raised a political issue. But now we talk politics and we listen to our children, because they keep telling us that changes are coming, and that the Thaksin coming back is a big mistake and all this. So the next election would be decided not only by the new voters, the young people demanding changes and all this, but the the working people who now start to ask questions about, hey, if the Pheu Thai party remains, corruption will still be there. All these old politics remain there. And they look at people like the old politicians like Kun Suriya, Kun Somsak, and all this, and they ask the same question: is why are they still here? So this is something that Kun Thaksin will find very difficult to resolve, and that is he cannot abandon his old friends,
exactly,
who had formed, I would call it a joint venture with him in this political venture, meaning that they are partners. They invested in the party,
right?
And they have a certain stake,
right? And then there needs to be the return of investment.
Return of investment, yeah.
Right.
And they work out the IRR rate,
right? Exactly.
Rate of return,
exactly.
Whatever. So these are, I think, this is the mood at the moment, anyway. Unless Seta, produces some miraculous results in economic projects and all this. But if it goes, just muddle through like this, then the next election, I think, will be still with the Move Forward Party.
I agree totally. Because like I said, from the last election, from the results of the last election, in my personal opinion, the Move Forward Party was the only party basically that had simmerings of hope, offering people hope in that sense, and the feeling that the average person or the person that voted for MFP would say, they relate to me. They understand my feeling. I don't feel that way with the Democrats. I don't feel that way with Phumjai Thai. I don't feel that way with Pheu Thai even, so on and so forth. So again, everything depends on policies and how you relay those policies out. So like I said, it would depend on the machine, the machine of Pheu Thai, and how they come up with the messages and how easy the messages are to understand and relate to the average person. Let's just say if the digital wallet comes out, does not come out, comes out, doesn't come out.
Right.
I would think if it doesn't come out, it's an even better thing. My evil scheme political hat, if it doesn't come out, it's even better because now I am a victim. And now I need more help. You see, if I had more votes and more continuity, you would have this 10,000 baht in your pocket. But it's not because of me, nah. Not because of me, nah. It's because these people that don't understand you, right? So, conspiracist political guy, right? That's the thing. But then again, it depends on. But let's just say, in a beautiful world, right? The digital wallet comes out, and it does. It does. What do you call it? Cartoon. It does boost up the economy tremendously.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But then we have to see the proposed 400 baht wage hike.
Oh yeah, that's another sticky point
in October, right? For the large corporations, I think they're saying, oh well, we can cover that. We can make mama more expensive by 5 more baht. It'll cover us. But what about the smaller SMEs? Right? My wife's hotel in Sakonnakhon, it becomes, oh man, wait, it affects me directly. But then if the owner comes out and says, hey, we don't agree with this 400 baht wage hike, then you're a bad guy. Because you are the owner,
right?
And then the wage level will say, they understand me. They understand me. So it's perception in the end. It's all perception in the end, and it's hard to argue against a wage increase.
I know.
Even though from an SME point of view. From a business owner, because they'll say, well, hey, you just want to eat profits. It's your job to find a way to get more customers to come in. You have to find a way. I as the government, I have to take care of the people that can't take care of themselves.
I know.
How do you argue against that? You cannot argue against that, right? So, and again, MFP would have an advantage right now, right? Basically because they're in the opposition.
Right.
as well, right? So we'll have to wait and see.
They're not in the driver's seat. Yeah, they're
exactly
back
the backseat driver. Backseat drivers are always correct, right? So because I know I've taken my turns in the back seat. Right?
You have, yeah.
So that's the natural position, and then when the time comes, people sometimes, if you go back to your point of people of your generation that liked the uncles, right?
Yeah.
I think it was 8 years of the uncles, in a sense, and
the uncles,
8 years of the uncles, and it becomes to a certain point where people in a true democracy, right? Or in a democratic mind, people want change sometimes to change, right? So sometimes too much of uncles, too much of Obama, too much of Bush. You need to change. You just want to change just to change. But I always come back to say the same thing, is that be careful what you wish for, because it might come true.
That's true. Yeah.
So sometimes we just want change to change. But once you get that change, you'll say, hey, maybe that wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. But then MFP right now, I think, has all the advantage at this moment, because the disgruntled feeling, the feeling of Thaksin coming back and abusing his privileges. I don't want to say power, but privileges.
Yes.
And some circles saying flaunting the privileges.
Flaunting,
and the MFP feeling, and the MFP basically being in the opposition, of saying we're waiting, we're here. All we have to do is sit here and wait. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so we'll keep a close eye on that, because still work in progress, still unraveling.
Yep.
And we never know, and so many variables, so many uncertain factors. But then, thank you very much, Kunisara.
Thank you for inviting me.
Very insightful, exciting, and conspiring theories. Thank you. สวัสดีครับ
ครับ สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
ติดตามสุทธิชัยไลฟ์กับผมทุกวันเช้าสายบ่ายเย็นมีเรื่องร้อนเรื่องวิเคราะห์เรื่องสัมภาษณ์เรื่อง Exclusive ต้องที่นี่ที่เดียวครับไปติดตามผมใน Facebook 2 เพจสุทธิชัยยุ่นกับสุทธิชัยไลฟ์และอย่าลืม YouTube ครับ YouTube ไปกด Subscribe ที่สุทธิชัยไลฟ์กด Subscribe แล้วกดกระดิ่งเตือนคุณทันทีที่สุทธิชัยไลฟ์มาในมือถือคุณนอกนั้น Twitter ไปกดติดตามและ TikTok ครับ TikTok ล่าสุดนั้นสามารถที่จะถ่ายทอดสดสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ให้ทุกท่านติดตามได้เช่นกันสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ anywhere anytime สุทธิชัยไลฟ์คือเพื่อนที่เล่าข่าววิเคราะห์ข่าวสามารถทำให้ท่านทันข่าวทุกวินาทีจากนี้ไปครับ